the high school basketball preseason, a time for anticipation, expectations, and predictions. With the season now shifting to playoff mode and an LVP championship title under their belts, it's amazing to see what the Corsairs accomplished this season. I got an opportunity to sit down with the Waterford Mott boys varsity basketball team head coach Sean Moore before the season to discuss his time playing high school ball, becoming a head coach, and advice for his team that they clearly took, ultimately making them this season's LVP champion.
So, you have been the assistant coach here at Waterford Mott for the past 4 years.
Yeah.
And you've also received some great accolades along the way, but now you're taking over as head coach this season. So, how does that feel, that transition, jumping from assistant coach to being head coach?
Well, this is my second year as the head coach. My first year was during the COVID year last year, so that was quite an adjustment. But as far as being head coach, I'm used to being head coach because I started out doing AAU for the past 15 years. So I've been head coach for 15 years doing AAU. It was just I had a group of kids that I started off with since they were like in preschool. And once they got to high school, that's what made me end up transitioning to the high school coaching job because I promised them I was going to stick with them from the minute I started with them from preschool all the way through high school. So that was my transition to high school with their freshman year.
That is amazing. And you're no stranger to a winning program. You came from a winning program at Pontiac Northern, winning not one but two back-to-back titles, Class A, might I add. So how does that, as a player, transitioning into being a head coach, like how do you take some of those things that you had during your time of playing and applying those as a coach and implementing some of those things?
The grit, the grind, not taking no days off, the effort our coaches pushed us to have last year, the energy. If you want to be the best, you got to continue to work. And I'm a very competitive person. So I took that mind frame from when I was younger back to the older, not taking no shorts, not giving no excuses to kids, pushing them to their max. Because if they go, if they want to excel, you got to push them to make things difficult for them. If it's not difficult and life is easy, they never want to transition to that next stage. To transition to the next stage and being leaders. And being leaders is what a lot of young children are afraid to do. So what I do with children is really just adjust their mindsets, show them that anything's possible to look at the path that I follow. And basically, I just push them. Like, I don't take no excuses. I don't take nothing off. At the same time, I know how to adjust myself to put myself in the kid's shoes, so it ain't like I'm that irritating coach. Like, they understand that I have a passion and I love them, but at the same time, I laugh and joke with them a lot. But if we get in between this part, like, there's no jokes, it's all serious, and they know. Like, my goal for them is to be successful, regardless if it's professional, regardless if it's getting an education, regardless if it's owning a Fortune 500 company. You got to compete in whatever it is in life you want to do, whether it's sports, getting the next job, you got to compete. So that's the main thing I teach my children is compete at whatever you do, whether it's in the classroom or on the court.
Absolutely. And that was actually going to be a follow-up for me. So, like, how do they take that? Are they like, Coach, you routed me too hard? Or how, like, are they receptive of it normally? Or do they kind of give you that typical teenage, attitude? Or how do they receive that?
It all starts with the parenting part at home. Like, when you're a coach, and when you try to discipline a child, if a child is automatically like a sensitive, not soft, I say more sensitive, because a lot of more women raising children than it is males. So when you yell at a child and you be on them, and that child has someone to run to, those are the hardest kids to get receptive to you because the parent is the one that spoiled them. So it kind of got to work. You got to be on the same page. So that's why whatever child I coach, I always talk to the mom or the dad because I'm on the kid hard. And if you want your child to be successful and do what the goal is at hand, to play sports, you want to get a scholarship, you got to be just as hard on them at home as I am on the court. Because if I'm tough on him at home and he go home crying, complaining about me and you baby him, then he feel like he's not going to have to work for me as hard when he get here if he got somebody to come home to. So it work in both hands. So
yeah, and that makes 100% sense, So that's great. I love the competitiveness about you, that you push them to the next level. And speaking of being pushed to the next level, Isaiah Jackson, he did actually go to the next level. He played under you for your AAU team, the family. He also played here at Mott as well. And he made his transition to Kentucky and then into the NBA. Talk about that and talk about how that made you feel as a coach to be able to coach someone to an elite.
Seeing Isaiah from where he started off here at Pontiac PAE, he was a scrawny, skinny kid, couldn't dribble, just 8th grade. couldn't shoot. He was like clumsy. All he could do was just dunk, left hand, right hand. But one thing he did, he was in one the club or didn't go out, you wasn't seeing him in the neighborhood. He stayed in that gym consistently, like non-stop, all the way through from that 8th grade year to where he became household name. His 9th grade year went to his sophomore year where he became nationally ranked. And it's that pill you swallow as a kid. You swallow that pill, you get that mind frame of focus, like there's no turning back. And he was so locked in, and when he came here, it was like he already came from where LaMelo Ball was at Spire, so he transferred here his senior year. So you go from a school with LaMelo Ball and Rocket Watts, like 4 nationally ranked kids, to come here, and he was still humble, still great to the kids around the community. He didn't stand out as if he was the man. Like God blessed him to really, everything he received, God blessed him to have. He had a great family too. He had a good mother and father. So he had a great background, plus he had great support in the city, and he wasn't a follower. And that's the biggest thing with these kids, being a follower. Kids are scared to be leaders because they're afraid of what the next person gonna think, if their friends still gonna hang with them, if people gonna call them a suck up. But being a leader, and that's what he was. And it's cool being a leader once you be successful, but that transition of becoming that leader and trying to do it, you get all the finger pointing names talked to in the world until you make it. And that's what kids are scared to do, and that's what he did. That helped the Pontiac community, helped the city, brought coaches into the gym. He just a great talented coach, man. It was exciting. Fully excited.
That is beautiful. So with that leadership quality, because I believe that he mostly possessed that quality as well, obviously, to be able to adapt to that. But what do you say to kids who are kind of stuck up in that following like mode or mindset? Like, how do you try to get them to break that mode and come out of that if you see the potential that they have to become the leader that Isaiah has?
We live in a show me world, so you have to show a kid. So if you, for example, if I be like, well, you don't lead this was a college coach look for it, this and that, it'll go to one ear and not the other if a coach is not here. So now if I bring a college coach here and not in the gym, they automatically want to do it because they feel like they want to impress the Knicks. So it's like when you put them kids in that environment to force them, it brings it out of some of them, but some of them still be humble and scared to where, and I have had some quiet kids. I actually, like, one of my kids played for the University of Michigan. He played running back, Donovan Edwards this year. He's a freshman. He was that same kid, not a leader, real quiet. My father's boy, his mom had passed when he was young. But one thing he did, he always paid attention to me, asked me a lot of questions. And I'm that person that, like, on my answer, I'm going to be 100% honest about anything you ask me, because the kids will find out information wherever. And I'm that coach that will tell you whenever, go answer the question how you ask me. And it's going to be open and upfront and honest with you. And that's where I garner my respect from these children, to where they'll go over a brick wall for me. Like, honestly, if people ask how I do it, I can really just put myself in their shoes. But at the same time, when it's time for discipline, I don't cut no shorts. These kids got to be adults, so you got to train them and mentally put their mind in the spots to where they going to hit their bumps, they going to jump over their curves, let them know over the girls, let them know the education, let them know how it is in college. You're your own adult once you get to college. Just let them know things that a lot of people wouldn't want to talk to them about besides video games and rap music. You got to let these kids know nowadays. It's a whole new world, whole new generation. And it's not like when I was coming up to where everybody really cared what you was doing. Yeah. It's more like the kids looking up to the cool street guys, or they looking up to the guys that they feel like you gotta have money to be this and that. So, and those guys are nowhere near type leaders. So you gotta kind of strain them away from that. Let them know you can still be that inner city kid, but you can be your own self at the same time. Don't be afraid to be yourself.
Now, does that part make it difficult for you to do that?
It don't make it difficult, because I'm a prime example of it. Like, all of my friends, like, are incarcerated or deceased. Like, if people really knew my upbringing or my background or the type of friends that I have, they'll understand more what I talk about. Like, I know how to not be fake towards my friends and be real cool with them, but when things will be in a negative way or something going wrong, I know how to take myself away from it. I I don't have to be around them every time to get the respect from my friends. Like, they mess with me regardless because I'm a 100 honest person, always been me. So a lot of these kids are in the inner city, so they see me a lot in these neighborhoods. They see me around these same people that they look up to. So when I talk to them, it's easy flowing because I'm not that person that's living out West Bloomfield, only come here to coach them, or only come here when it's time. Like, I'm in the neighborhood 7 days a week, so there's nothing that I can't tell them that they won't believe me. I just got to set by example, especially when you're dealing with inner city kids that don't have much to look for.
Absolutely, and I kind of wanted to touch on that a little bit as well because Pontiac has had quite a few amazing athletes that have come through the ranks, but it's also been kind of a city that's where anything can happen. So sometimes some of those athletes will fall victim to
a lot of Isaiah Jacksons.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, how important is it to you to show them the other side of the spectrum?
That's kind of like the hardest part. Like, it's hard, but it's easy. That part right there, what you're talking about, because you got so many children that's talented, and then you got parents that don't care. So when you a kid deal with that, you adjust more to your friends, your peers that's your age, and them become your friends, and them become who you follow. So you got to kind of put those type of people in front of real life stories, let people talk to them, like people who've been through things. There's a lot of Pontiac guys that was nationally ranked, supposed to have been in the NFL or the NBA. Those guys are still around, and I had those guys tell their stories, or I even have stories, or I have stories that I went to school, I call a friend and put them on speaker, like just for a kid to really know what direction of life they can be heading towards, what can be happening to them. You've got a large majority that will listen, but I have lost percentages of kids, like from jail, from being gunned, from shot, from being murdered. Like, I have had team players that were murdered. I have had, so like in my 15 years, 16 years, I've dealt with so much. Like, I dealt with a lot of kids. I've been prepared of kids. I've had to take care of some. I've attended tons of graduations, funerals. Like, it's like, yeah, like I really.
Yeah, we're going to touch on that on part 2. So there's going to be another one coming up mid-season. We're going to touch on that for sure.
So it's a lot of kids. A lot of kids that I have touched, that I have lost. A lot of kids that I have touched that have successfully made it. But the ones that I have lost, I can still communicate with them. They might be inner city street kids, but I still call them and check on them. I still try to let them know, like, they're only 20, 19. I still try to get them to get into college, community college. I still talk to them, help them with jobs. I work for the state as well.
Okay.
So, do job placement. So I try to give them jobs. I just try to help as much as I can. Like,
that is beautiful. Like, that is absolutely amazing. Switching gears here, though, so you have received quite a few awards this year, but one of those awards stood out in particular because someone very special got to witness you not only receive the award, but do something that they've never been able to see you do until then. Talk about that.
And that's where it comes from, having to be a mentor, or like, that's the parents that I was talking about. My mom, she had me and my brother, and like, no father was like around like that. So she worked a whole lot. So like, I was coming up from elementary to junior high to high school. My mom worked the same shift, 3 to 11s. So like, I only see my mom when it's time for me to go to school, and after school she had work. When I go feed, this was what I was going, she'd leave me money, but she was a great parent. She taught me morals, she taught me values, she taught me a lot. But she was never able to make no sports games, no nothing, because of her working for me and my brother. Then when I got to college, she was diagnosed with sarcoidosis. It's like a bone disease, so she wasn't really a traveler. My mom just like an independent, strong worker type woman. And she never seen me coach, never seen me play or nothing until that time last year where I was awarded the Oakland County Commissioner Flag Award, and she came, her and my aunt, and that was the first time ever seeing me coach or do anything basketball-wise, and that was like one of the most specialist moments. So to go back from that, I never lost faith or never felt down in my mind, but she always talked to me, so that's why I was mentally able to be strong through sports, not having family there, because I knew the purpose of me and my family wise, and plus I was a real cool so that never got in my way. So that's what, like, another story of kids that go through certain things. Like, I give the other story to sound like I didn't have a parent to attend my functions. I didn't parent night. I didn't have all that. But my mental never let me go back or feel down or dislike my mom or feel any type of way, because I knew the purpose of what she was trying to do in life. And I was raised with my brother. A lot of kids don't understand life nowadays. Like, that's like one of the biggest problems. They don't understand life. They don't understand situations. They don't understand a lot of words that are being thrown to them. So, yeah.
That's what makes it so special, you know? And moving into so the season will be beginning shortly.
December 9th, tryouts November 15th, 16th. My first game will be December 9th against Detroit, UAD Jesuit. One of the top 5 teams in the state. And it'll be here at Waterford Mott.
Yes.
And they also have one of my kids that I had since preschool that's there. He's from Pontiac. He's one of the top guards in the state, highly recruited. So we'll be going against some of my former kids. So it'll be a good showing.
Absolutely. So I know you're excited.
Oh, super excited.
What have you talked about? Have you talked to the team as of late regarding the upcoming season, expectations, things like that?
The returning players from last year, I haven't talked to them. I haven't talked to a lot of kids, because you don't want kids walking around the school saying, "Oh, he talked to me, I'm on the team," and stuff. So you wait to trials. But it's kids that know that they're playing. They know the expectations. They know what I'm looking forward to. We set up a good thing this year with the kids to where we work out 5 days a week after school. We also have mandatory study hall. If you don't attend study hall, you miss a game. And also we got progress reports kids. I do that for myself, my personal self, because my goal, I get paid for coaching, but my goal and my job is to get you to college, whether it's community college, university. And if I'm not watching your grades, or I'm not helping you make sure you required to have the grades to attend the university, I didn't fulfill my job. Like, it ain't about me just coaching. It's about the afterlife of the kids. I live my youth life. Like, I mean, I still travel and I have fun, but right now it ain't about me. It's about all these kids that look at TV, that have dreams and passion. Like, that's what life's about. That's what keeps me going.
Oh, absolutely. And so if you could give your team any bit of advice, if they were to see this before the season started, and you can give them any bit of advice for the upcoming season, what would it be?
Stay focused. Stay with the task that's on hand. Stay together, believe in one another, and play as a team. That'll take you a long ways. You play as a team and you got trust within each other. That'll take you a long way, regardless if you're the best team or the worst team. Chemistry is everything. Chemistry is everything. You don't create chemistry, you don't have nothing. And that'll be my advice to them, is to maintain strong. Don't let no distraction get in your way. Maintain them grades and stay connected as one. And I'll handle the rest from there. Stay connected as one. That means I got everybody's attention.
Who said it's men's world?